Hey everyone, and welcome to this video. My name is Benjamin and I am the CEO and founder of Bison Scaling, which is a marketing company or growth partner for remodeling businesses. And in this video, I'm going to give you a walkthrough of the 2025 remodeling marketing guide that I've made with some insights that I've found so far in this year, and something that I'm thinking is moving forward is going to be extremely important. So let's just dive right in. All right, so just to give you kind of the scope of the 2025 remodeling industry landscape, we have runaway competition, so new contractors and remodeling startups are flooding the market. Low cost, low quality providers are undercutting established businesses. That's what I've heard from my partners, and being on a lot of calls as well with remodeling businesses, which means it's more important than ever to actually being able to showcase the value that you can provide and like the quality of work. So the homeowners aren't focusing on only like the price, but seeing you through like actually the scope of quality you are doing. So you need to be able to like showcase that. Otherwise, they would obviously just go with the cheapest option. Other than that, there's an incoming trust recession, so the market is saturated with flashy promises and overblown claims. Homeowners are growing skeptical, and that is making it harder for even reputable remodelers to earn trust. So therefore, it's more important than ever to have like the fundamentals right, which I will also go into later on in this video. Ads are also getting more expensive. So especially on Google and Andes or like all of these like lead aggregators, it's getting more expensive due to like the increase in competition, and also just like the natural process of like businesses moving over to like paid advertising, which is making it more expensive, and that is squeezing the marketing return on investment if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Then we also have AI. Whether you like it or not, it's coming. It's already here, and it's taking over. So yeah, it's really important to kind of adjust to that and implement it in the business, because it's really powerful if you know how to use it correctly. So AI is revolutionizing how remodelers attract leads. So personalized campaigns, faster content creation, and automated follow-ups are becoming the new standard, which means if we have a company that is testing a lot of different stuff with AI, they can, really outperform a company that is just like stuck in 2020 and not utilizing AI at all. Other than that, if there's remodelers sitting there typing like automatic follow-up messages, then obviously the other business utilizing AI can work on higher leverage tasks, which allows them to move faster than the competitor. So the key themes to win in 2025 is to niche down and stay lean. So specialize in a few high value projects such as like kitchen and bathrooms, and avoid trying to do everything for everyone. So like we normally focused mostly on like kitchen and bathrooms because it's most high ticket. It's like it's something that a lot of people like want to get done because it's like an investment in the home. So that's something we're pushing a lot, and we've seen great results with. And it's also like, it doesn't matter how hard you row, it matters which boat you row in. So I would much rather like sell high ticket stuff like kitchens and bathrooms, such as like, I know it's also like quite high ticket, but like flooring. But I would prioritize like going for kitchens and bathrooms, like get a foot in the door, and then you can always upsell them on a lot of other stuff when you're in there. That's just what we've seen the best proof of concept with. Then we have obsess about proof. So on your website, on your social media, showcase before and after pictures, client testimonials, and project walkthroughs to build trust with future clients. Focus on offers, so craft irresistible remodeling offers that help you stand out from other contractors. Because at the end of the day, like, you're just like basically helping them with going from point A of having like their space that they're not satisfied with it, and then you're taking them over to point B where they have their dream. So you should basically craft an offer that can take them from point A to point B in the easiest possible way, and in a way that positions you differently from the other remodelers. I'll also touch more on this later in the video. Then we have create content. So homeowners research extensively. They share educational content on timelines, budgeting tips, and renovation insights to position yourself as the expert. So I would highly recommend creating content that is basically positioning yourself as the authority and the go-to professional in the area. The next thing here is prioritize rapid follow-up. So homeowners often go with the first responsive contractor. So speedy communication can win you the job, even over bigger names. So that is why the importance of getting back to someone immediately is super, super important. And that's like, if I'm, for instance, going for a haircut, then I'm going with the one that can actually give me like a convenient time. Maybe that's different, like in terms of like how much you care about your hair, but I just want to get it done like as fast as possible, if that makes sense. Then we have diversify your lead sources, so don't rely solely on referrals or one lead aggregator. Spread your eggs in several baskets. So that's also actually what, if there's investors that should invest in your company, if there's someone that should potentially buy it, they always look on like how many sources of like leads you have. Because if you're solely relying on referrals, then you don't have any control over how many jobs you're getting, and you don't have a proper system. So that's why you should at least have like one or two lead aggregators that are consistently giving you jobs month after month. So also like in terms of the whole like awareness of your brand, put yourself like in the homeowner's shoes. Like if you were to search up your company right now, like would you want to buy from you, or is there like anything else that should kind of be there that aren't there? Like, do you have the social presence? Do you have Google reviews? All that stuff. So at a bare minimum, you should have a solid website. So don't overpay. Maybe you could pay like $2 or $3 when you're starting out. And it's also important that your site should include SEO-friendly service pages, a blog, and before and after project galleries. Because like this is like a huge investment for people. Like if they want to remodel their kitchen or bathroom, it's probably one of the biggest investments they're going to make in their life, except from maybe like purchasing a house or purchasing a new car, stuff like that. But it is like one of the major ones. So obviously they are going to do their research before they are buying. So you could pay someone to build the website. You could go on Fiverr, find some freelancers and guide them, send them over some inspiration from sites that you like, and then make them model it. The next thing is like a fully optimized Google business profile. So this is easy, free exposure, and include all contact info, a detailed service description, and plenty of high quality project photos. So it's important to get reviews regularly and post updates or completed projects. Because this is basically like, if they search up your company, they can see all of the reviews, you have a phone number there, you had a good like presence, then obviously they will give you a call. And this is also like an organic way to get more jobs if you're ranking high on Google. The other part that is also important is to have an active Instagram or Facebook page. So share photos and videos of completed jobs, customer testimonials, and behind the scenes progress shots, because it's a powerful way to show your craftsmanship and stay top of mind. So if they're like looking to get it done and they're following you on like Facebook and Instagram, then obviously you would stay top of mind if you keep popping up, they keep seeing like your work, and it builds trust with them. And like something that you can do if you're a bit lazy is that you can kind of synchronize Facebook and Instagram. So every time you post on one platform, it goes to the other. So that's just like a simple hack for getting more content out there. So the next big thing that is obviously super important is to have a consistent way of getting more remodeling jobs. And this comes from the fact that I've been on a lot of calls with like remodeling businesses that have like up until this point been solely relying on referrals. And yes, it can get you like a decent size if you're lucky, and you're like maybe not lucky, but if you have like a good repetition. But it's out of your control. And if you want to take the business to the next level, you should have an acquisition system where you know if you put money in, you're going to get something out consistently. Because that's also how you can keep your crew busy and therefore scale the business. Because if they leave, then you're fucked. So you need to build a machine where you can put $1 in and get $7 out. But right now, the majority of remodelers are putting their money into the wrong machine. That's what I'm seeing. So you have probably worked with Andy Leads, Yelp, House, or Home Advisor. And the problem with these lead aggregators is that you have to call these leads yourself. Most leads are never responding, or they're just tire kickers. It's inconsistent, and they're shared with 5 to 10 other remodelers. So imagine if like they're getting bombarded with like the lowest price right as they are kind of, showing interest in a new kitchen or a new bathroom. Then obviously they would start seeing the whole process of getting this kitchen or bathroom job done through the lens of price, instead of actually seeing, okay, who's actually the most top quality, what is the best investment for our house. But when they're getting exposed to all of these remodelers, they're just looking and scanning through, oh, what is the cheapest option out there? And if you're competing against someone who's operating out of the truck, then you have a problem. So the best way of building a reliable system is in 2025 is, from my experience, testing all of these different kind of like platforms for advertising is Meta, which is like Facebook and Instagram. But it's only powerful if it's done right. So kind of the way I see marketing is kind of like wheels, or like spokes in a wheel. So if you're running paid advertising, for instance, on Facebook and Instagram, and one of the spokes in the wheel here are missing, then kind of the whole thing is falling flat, and you're not going to get a good enough return on investment on your ads, if any, to keep running the system. So that's why all of the sub systems within the system should operate within the key performance indicators. Otherwise, the whole thing will fall flat. So number one, so like the first spoke in the wheel that needs to like be fully functional is to have a grand slam offer. So this is kind of the power of having a grand slam offer. So we launched this client, I think it was actually on the 6th of June, where we launched this offer. I'll get more into the specific of this video, but within the first 7 days, he closed 128K in jobs, which is super, super impressive. So one of the jobs he closed was at 70K, and the other one, I believe, was at like 58 grand. So that led him to make 128K in just 7 days. And that's just like to showcase the power of having a grand slam offer. So what are kind of the building blocks for a grand slam offer? So the first thing is a clear headline with service type and offer. So there's like a clear call out. You can also call out the local area so they feel like this is made for them. Then it should be consultation focused on the homeowner's biggest remodeling challenge, because at the end of the day, business is solving problems. So the better you can showcase that you're able to solve their problem, the more money you're going to make, and also the more deals you're going to close. The next thing is design preview or small scale mockup, included in the first visit. That's just kind of to like show that you're really serious about like actually making their dream like come a reality with their space. It's also like just a way to position yourself differently from other contractors. Then limited time bonuses, like create urgency, make that this is kind of a special offer and it's only eligible if you're looking to get started with an X time frame, because that's kind of building an urgency which forces people to actually take action. Number 2 is then creative. So instead of just like running these before and after images, which you could probably like get away with in 2022 or 2023, we've seen much better proof of concept and results running videos. So we're kind of running these videos, and the reason why they're working so well is because we can actually showcase an offer in this video, or in these videos, and that basically means we can already filter out people that aren't serious about getting started within the next 30 to 60 days right now, instead of actually getting on the phone with them. And that trains the algorithms to find people that are actually looking to get started now, instead of people that are just like shopping around. Other than that, it's just like more engaging to see a video compared to an image. So that's also why we are running it this way. Number 3 is then targeting. So I recommend always spending a minimum of $50 a day, because like at the end of the day, if you're targeting kitchen and bathroom renovation jobs and you're spending like $1,000 or like $500 a month, that's just like, you shouldn't expect to get like jobs that are 20, 30, 40, 50, upwards to $100,000, only paying $500 to $1,000 a month on ads. So I always recommend spending a minimum of $1,500 a month, so we can build a proof of concept from that budget, and then we can always scale up from there. Because that's also the thing that is great with Facebook and Instagram. We're actually pushing out demand. We're essentially paying for getting eyeballs on, which means if we know every time 1,000 people are getting like their eyes on the content and one is buying, then we have that systematic approach, and we can just put more money in to get more jobs. Where, for instance, if we're using Google, we can't control how many people are actually searching for the keyword, where here we have full control. We can just spend more money. The next thing then is the targeting. So what's also being written here on the bottom is that I would just keep it broad, because the algorithm will do the work. They know exactly who's looking to get a remodel done right now. So I would just like put in their age range, because like wouldn't probably be a good idea to target people in the start of their 20s, because they most likely don't have the budget to like invest in a full remodel. Then I would also obviously focus on my radius. So this is heavily dependent on like how populated your area is. So if there's a lot of people in your area, then you could probably get away with like 25 to 30 to 40 mile radius. But if you're like living a long time away from the city, then you should probably do like more 50 to 70 mile radius. But basically you can always just look at how many people are in the audience and then adjust it based on that. In terms of like placements, so where the ads are getting put into, we also just keep it broad, because at the end of the day, Facebook's goal is to give us the lowest cost per lead, so cost per people that are filling out their information for our ad, and therefore they know where to put the ads. Number 4 is then follow-up and qualification, which is probably one of the most important parts, because like you could get a bunch of leads, but at the end of the day, if none of them are converting into appointments, it doesn't really matter. And that's also what I've heard from like Angie's or like these other lead aggregators, is that you can get a bunch of leads, and there you're actually also paying per lead, but it's hard converting them into appointments, because there's a lot of other people calling up the same lead, and you have to do the work actively yourself, which can be hard, because as a business owner you're juggling a lot of plates, and calling leads within 2 minutes as they opt in is pretty hard. So that's also why we take care of that part. So leads should be called within 5 minutes. And the reason why that is so important is because there's a 391% higher chance they will book an appointment if that's done. Other than that, Facebook and Instagram is working as an algorithm. So if they've just showed interest in a full kitchen or full bathroom remodel, then Facebook know they're actually looking for that right now. And therefore they will be exposed to other ads from other companies. And if they have someone ready on the phone to call them within 2 minutes, then they're going to get the consultation and probably going to get the sale. So that's why it's so important to have the whole system dialed in. Number 2 is leads should be contacted up to 10 times before giving up. So that is also super important, because like you really need to be persistent. And I remember there's like 100% or 700% higher chance that you will actually get a hold of the lead after the seventh contact point. And if your competitor is giving up after one try, then you are going to win that lead over and get them into a book consultation, which is your goal. So the thing is also, like with Facebook, only like 5 to 10% would actually take the action straight away because maybe they're busy. That happens, you're scrolling on Facebook and Instagram at all times, so you could probably get caught up in something and not get that like appointment scheduled in, or maybe they have like some uncertainty or some concerns that you need to address with them over the phone. So that's why we are persistent in the follow-up and keep calling them up, so we aren't leaving the 90% of the money on the table for people that aren't booking an appointment straight away. Number 3 and 4 is emails and messages should be sent out to nurture the lead. So this is like implementing AI. You should have messages going out to the leads as they opt in, but you should also build up your pipeline over time, which means when the leads are signing up after like 14 days, they should still receive messages checking in on them, because again, this is a longer buying cycle. And if you're sending emails and messages out, you are kind of creating that like top of mind for your brand, which means when they then need to get their remodel done, you will be the first one that they're thinking about. Something we are also actively doing is like running reactivations, which means after like 60 days and they still haven't taken action, we can offer them like a $500 coupon if they are willing to get started now instead. So that's something we can use to kind of get them over the line and get them to book an appointment. Another important part is qualification must be done before going out. And what I mean by this is not like too heavy qualification, because you obviously don't want to budget qualify, because this is a sales process. They need to go through like the consultation and stuff like that. You need to basically show them the value that you're providing before just dropping the price. Otherwise it sounds like a lot of money for them if you haven't showed like the value first. But you don't want to go out to appointments either that aren't ready to move forward. So what we always like to do is like qualify them based on the timeline. So when are they looking to get started? Because if they're looking to get started next year, then you probably don't want to go out to the appointment. You would either just keep them in the pipeline and let your team follow up with them until they're ready. The next thing is also making sure that they're actually the owners of the home. That's obviously also important. You want to make sure that they're within your my radius. You want to make sure they have the budget. So if you get like an impression that they're like really price sensitive and they think they can get a full kitchen for $1,000, then you should probably ask them the question, so what is your expected budget? And if that's not within the range of what you're doing, then you would tell them, our project starts from XYZ price. Is that something that you would be able to afford? And then if they aren't able to afford that, then you just disqualify them, because then you have saved your time or your team's time for actually driving all the way out to that appointment. You have already done that qualification part on the phone. Obviously, then it's also important to set yourself up for success. So making sure that the decision makers are present on that meeting as well is also important. So this is kind of like tying back to this wheel and the spokes in the wheel, because if you don't have a grand slam offer, you don't going to get leads. And if you don't have the right creatives for showcasing that grand slam offer, then you aren't going to get any leads either. Then we have the targeting. If you don't know how to actually get a hold of the people that are looking to get a remodel done now and actually have the income to invest, then you aren't going to get leads either. Or you are probably going to get leads, but you aren't going to get the right leads. Then we have the follow-up and qualification, because you can get all of the leads in the world, but if you can't get on the phone with them and get them to basically schedule an appointment, then you aren't going to get results either. So that's why all of these like parts needs to play together to actually make like the system work. So just breaking down like what success could look like with paid acquisition if you have all of these like spokes in the wheel working. So if we say that you're spending $1,500 on ads a month, your cost per lead is $20. You're generating 75 leads then on a monthly basis. Your appointment booking rate is 15%. This is just like pessimistically. You're booking 11 appointments. 80% of them are going to demo, which means you're giving them an estimate. So that is factoring in cancellations, that's factoring no-shows, which means you are ending up giving 9 estimates. And if you're having a close rate of 33%, which we're normally seeing for our partners, then you are going to close 3 new jobs. And keep in mind, this is jobs that can range from 15, 20 grand, 10 grand if it's like a smaller bathroom or if it's smaller work, upwards to over 100K, probably 200K. And the thing is also like, if you first are good, if you're good at selling and you're getting into their home, you could upsell them on a lot of other stuff as well, which could increase the average order value. And you could also go in there and they want to get their bathroom done, and then suddenly they also want their kitchen done. And then you get 2 in 1, which is great. And on top of that, you're building your brand in the process. You are also going to get referrals from these people if you're doing a great job, which just create this compounding effect. So the cost per new job would only be $500 if you can get all of these metrics within KPI. And keep in mind, you should be willing to pay upwards to $1,200 to $2,000 to acquire new jobs. And maybe that sounds like a lot, but if you have a machine where you can put $1,500 into and get a full bathroom or kitchen job, how much would you then put into that machine? Because this is really like what allows you to scale the business. And this is what I have seen from the partners. This is kind of the biggest difference from my clients making, 500K a year, 1 million a year, 2 million a year, 3 million a year, upwards to like 10, 20, 30 million a year, is that they have this predictable system of getting new jobs. Because if they know every time they put $1,200 into the machine and they get a 30K job, then they put a shit ton of money into that machine. And that's what we want to build. So when we have first cracked the code on this $1,500 ad spend, it could also be $3,000. Then why not spend 6K? Why not double that all the way up to 12K and 24K when you're first seeing that return on investment? So if you found this video valuable and you want my team to help you out with crafting the offer, building out the ads, doing the advanced targeting, and also calling up, qualifying the leads, and setting them directly onto you or your team's calendar, then feel free to go to bisonscaling.com and check if your area is still available. And then I hope to see you on a meeting where I can learn more about your business. All right, bye-bye.